Okay. Can everybody hear me now? I think the Hezbollah tried to stop the microphones here, but we sent them a beeper, solved the problem. So first of all, thanks for being here. Again, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed early this morning. I know some of you were drinking a lot of wine last night and dining. Hopefully we're all sober. It's a very, and welcome back to the fourth and last day. You guys have been here for almost 4 full days, and we thank you. This last day of the 25th Shabtai Shavit World Summit on Counterterrorism, and it's a pleasure to see so many of you so early in the morning. Please don't forget to follow the instructions in the Homefront Command. I'm sure the Houthis see that there's such a distinguished delegation here that they might want to send something in our direction. I want to remind you once more that if there is a siren, you stay in this room. You don't go running out anywhere. You just calmly stay in this room, and we will continue our deliberations as if nothing happened, because you know, it's an advantage to be in the room you need to be in when there's a siren. So this is that room. We will have another full engaging program ahead with keynote addresses, and without any further ado, it's an honor to introduce our first speaker of the day, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, Deputy Assistant to the President of the United States and Senior Director for Counterterrorism at the National Security Council. Sebastian is a great friend of Israel. He's a veteran of this conference. He's our good friend. We greatly appreciate his friendship, and we also appreciate the patriotic bear hug we get from him every time we meet. And thank you for that. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Jonathan. Otherwise known as the Casey Kasem of international conferences. I can't believe I'm here because I met a man called Boaz Ganor 21 years ago. I started teaching a counterterrorism course for a legend in our community, the late, great Nick Pratt, who said, we're bringing one of the greatest minds in counterterrorism to an army base in Germany to build a network to defeat Al-Qaeda. And that is how our relationship began. I don't even know how many ICT conferences I've been to. All I know is that Boaz made sure this morning to point out that I may be a deputy to a president, but he's a real president. I tried. I would like to think that the friendship I have with you, Boaz, is in a small part emblematic of the friendship between our two nations. We stand with Israel. The President of the United States is the most philo-Semitic supporter of Israel since the rebirth of this nation in 1948. I would like to remind everyone, lest you have forgotten, there is only one president who has prayed at the Western Wall of the Temple as president. It is my boss, Donald J. Trump. Not only that, he did something quite stunning after 23 years of other politicians breaking their promise to Israel. He moved the embassy and recognized Jerusalem. And I will tell you a story about that in a moment. But first, I want to thank Boaz for inviting me. But on behalf of all Americans, I say this not as somebody working in the White House, but I say this as a taxpayer. I say this as a member of Judeo-Christian civilization. I thank you for what Israel has done in the last 712 days. It does not go unmissed that there is an empty chair on this stage, and it is a yellow empty chair. The sacrifice this nation has gone through, the hostages who are still being held in captivity, hostage affairs belong to me in the White House. I meet with families of the hostages almost every week, and I reassure them that our president is doing everything to get every single Israeli, American, any nationality hostage back from the clutches of Hamas. I think of the 18 graduates of this college who have died in the war with jihadis in the last 2 years. I think of the hostage that was a graduate of this school. And I think of the amazing mathematics of what happened on that day. If you put the numbers killed on October the 7th, the biggest loss of Jewish life since the end of the Shoah, since the end of the Holocaust, and you project it onto the size of the American population, we are still suffering mentally and spiritually from the events of 9/11. But if we had gone through October the 7th in the same proportion to the number of Jews who were killed, we would have lost 34,000 Americans that day. So we cannot even relate to what happened. But I've seen the video of what happened that day, the unedited version. And as I said, as a private citizen, after I had been shown that video, I hope the people of this great nation find everyone responsible, kill them, bury them, and salt the earth above their graves. Why? Because we are facing the same enemy. How do I know this? I know this because of what President Trump said 7 years ago in Warsaw. The most important speech I think he has ever given. If you don't remember it, I encourage you after the conference, after you've had all your meetings, exchanged your business cards, to go back and watch the video. It's one of the shortest speeches he's ever given. It's 38 minutes long. You don't even have to watch the whole speech. Watch the last 3 minutes. First thing you will see is the strange location. This was a big deal. The Polish government were incredibly honored to have the president. And they wanted him in a safe building downtown, big, secure government facility. The president said, no. I don't want to be inside. I want to be outside, in front of the people of this great nation that suffered so much under fascism. And I want to stand next to the 20-foot-high bronze statue of the Polish freedom fighter coming out of the sewer, holding a machine gun, ready to kill Nazis. It's difficult because it's the President of the United States. You've got to secure him. But we said that is non-negotiable for the President. He gave that speech standing next to that iconic statue of a nation fighting against those who would exterminate it. And in the last 3 minutes, he said the following: the only question of the age is whether or not we in Western civilization have the will to fight and defeat those who would destroy our civilization. That includes Al-Qaeda. That includes Hamas, Hezbollah, Al-Nusra. It includes Antifa, that President Trump declared a terrorist organization 4 hours ago. And that decision is personal for me because I had a good friend called Charlie Kirk, who for the last 9 years, because he wanted to promote exchange of ideas and debate on college campuses, was labeled a Nazi, undermining everything that word means, was called a fascist by groups like Antifa. And now he's gone. Killed because somebody politically disagreed with him and called him the same name as people responsible for the final solution, for the death camps, and for the gas chambers. We will not permit that in our country, and we will not permit it to threaten our friends, such as Israel. We are in a war between civilization and barbarity. That is the simple description. And to be there just 3 days ago, at the site of the unveiling of the Pilgrim's Way in Jerusalem, from the sacred bathing pool all the way up to the temple, to be there with Prime Minister Netanyahu, to be there with my boss, Acting National Security Advisor Marco Rubio, and the great Ambassador, Governor Huckabee, who all said the same thing. We are on the front lines of a civilizational war. To stand on the literal flagstones that every Jew had to walk on to pay pilgrimage to the temple every year. The stones that Jesus and his parents walked on helps us remember the stakes of the fight involved. And here's the good news. Nothing we do compares to what you've been through. Nothing in terms of the last 2 years. But I will say this. America is back in the business of counterterrorism. We are on the cusp of unveiling our new counterterrorism strategy for the president. But I think you know what will be in it. Because since the 11th day of the administration, thanks to the work of my incredible team in the National Security Council, we took our first strike against an ISIS leader. And since that time, less than 9 months ago, America has killed almost 400 jihadis, leading jihadis, around the world. Those who want to enslave or kill you, your family, us, and anyone who stands in their way. Not only that, and for some this is hard to cognitively accept, in the first week, the president designated the cartels as terrorists. Let me take this opportunity at this incredible event, at this beautiful college, to explain why. Again, it's about numbers. Not numbers of September the 11th or October the 7th, but numbers to do with those killed by drugs in our country. When I had a national television show, I dedicated one of those episodes to the question of the cartels. This was before I came back into the second Trump administration. And I decided to add up the numbers. I looked at every soldier, Marine, Airman, Coast Guard, killed in combat, wearing the uniform of the United States since 1945. So since the end of hostilities in World War II, how many soldiers, how many Marines, how many airmen, how many sailors, how many Coast Guards had died? So those are the wars of Korea, Vietnam, Panama, Grenada, Gulf War, Gulf II, GWAT, Afghanistan. The total is 103,000 Americans killed in action. 103,000 Americans. Okay. Then I decided to compare to the number of Americans killed by fentanyl, killed by illicit drugs, smuggled into our country from across the border. When we had a border, and then it was dismantled. I found the number. It was not easy to find. I had to go to the Biden Centers for Disease Control website. Many, many clicks on that website, down a little rabbit hole. I found the number. In the second year of the last administration, the Biden-Harris open border administration, 110,000 Americans were killed by the drugs the cartels have brought into our country. More Americans died in 1 year than in 70 years of combat. That is why President Trump has declared war on the cartels, why he is using the might of the greatest military in the world to neutralize them. And that is also why we will take any threat seriously and use the ultimate means against them. Whether you're killing 31-year-old fathers on college campuses, whether you're a jihadi trying to do the next 9/11, or whether you're a member of a cartel. So we are back in the counterterrorism game. Let me finish by telling you that story about the president's decision concerning Jerusalem, because it tells you who this man is. And it kind of underscores what an Orthodox friend of mine told me many years ago. Jeff, I hope you're watching. He said, America and Israel, genetically connected since the beginning, since the founding, which we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of next year. My Orthodox friend said, you know why America and Israel get along so well? Because America is the greatest nation made by man. Israel is the greatest nation made by God. So, what happened on that fateful day? I can't reveal the names, it would be impolitic of me. But during the first administration, when President Trump said, we're moving the embassy and we're recognizing Jerusalem as the eternal capital of the eternal nation of Israel, only 3 members of his administration supported him at the cabinet level. Despite the fact that multiple presidents had promised to do this for more than 23 years, starting with Bill Clinton. And every 6 months since President Clinton said we're going to recognize Jerusalem, the American executive, the commander-in-chief, had to officially inform your government, sorry, we're not doing it this year. Twice a year for 23 years, we officially had to tell the world we are breaking our promise to our best friends in the Middle East. Well, that was unacceptable to President Trump. One of the members of the cabinet, who will go nameless, but his nickname may have been Mad Dog, was not so much of a mad dog. He was more of a lapdog poodle. And it hurts me to say that because I spent 2.5 years of my life teaching the devil dogs at Quantico. I love the Marine Corps. Sorry, Gavin. Sorry, John. This warrior of a Secretary of Defense told the president, don't do it. You can't move the embassy. You mustn't recognize Jerusalem, sir. You will ignite World War III, and I don't have enough Marines to protect all of our embassies in the Middle East. What was President Trump's response? He looked at quote-unquote Mad Dog, and he said, well, Jim, I'm doing it. I'm doing it for 3 reasons. Number 1, because I promised the American people during the campaign. Number two, because we, the American people, promised the people of Israel 23 years ago. Oh, and thirdly, Jim, by the way, it is the right thing to do. That's who President Trump is. He understands. And that's why he stands by you in everything you have to do. And I'm delighted because my Israeli friends, you may have some difficulties domestically. What is the saying? If you have 2 Jews in a room, how many political parties? 3. So things are a little bit, chaotic politically, maybe. But that's okay, because I know, because I've seen it all my adult life. You will do whatever has to be done to make sure never again. You will do whatever has to be done to protect this nation. And I thank you for it. God bless all of the members of the IDF who are on the front lines, in the intelligence centers, that are fighting the civilizational war on the front line. But let me close by saying that we must have a holistic, a comprehensive, and a sophisticated understanding of the genesis of what we are witnessing today. Where does it come from? This idea that beautiful young girls at a pop concert in the desert can be slain hiding in a toilet. I've seen the videos. Unarmed members of the IDF decapitated with rusty garden implements. I've seen it. You know it. You've lived it. You know those are your relatives. Where does it come from? It comes from ideology. And one of the things we are going to take very seriously in the new draft counterterrorism strategy for the president is to understand we can kill terrorists very efficiently. We have demonstrated that in the last 8 months. But if they can continue to recruit replacements for the people we kill, it's an endless cycle. It's Sisyphean. It's pushing that rock uphill. What is the ultimate victory in this civilizational battle with barbarity? It is to attack, to use a Clausewitzian phrase, the center of gravity of the global jihadi movement. Be it Shia, be it Sunni, the center of gravity is the ideology of global jihad. An ideology of global jihad that we are seeing on the campuses of the greatest colleges in the world in America. From the river to the sea is not a political chant, it is a genocidal chant. And we will deal with the ideological seeds that eventually result in the murders, the deaths, the decapitations. My State Department colleague, my good friend, Greg Legerfo, will have some exciting announcements to make later. The rest of his colleagues also will be issuing a document in the very near future that I have been permitted to just quote 2 sentences from that demonstrates how serious we are in understanding why anti-Semitism is at the heart of the war we fight. Anti-Semitic protests, attacks, and violence against Jews and Jewish institutions continue to escalate worldwide. Contrary to the popular impression that these anti-Semitic actions are all organically driven, US government reporting shows that foreign malign actors are seeking to inflame, exacerbate, and foment unrest and division, which we are concerned ultimately promotes anti-Semitic ideologies. This is not organic. This is not natural. This isn't just freedom of speech. This is an ideological war being seeded, being propagated by those who wish to destroy Judeo-Christian civilization. And we take it very seriously. Why? Because as the President said 7 years ago in Warsaw, the only question of the age is whether we have the will to fight and defeat those who wish to destroy our shared civilization. God bless Israel, God bless America, God bless you all.